All right, so today we're diving into a thinker who is, let's just say, perfect for our modern, maybe a little disaffected world. And get this, he's not some wise old sage meditating on a mountaintop. Nope, he's a jester right down in the messy marketplace of life. And trust me, his message is no joke.
Okay, so let's start with this quote right here. You've probably heard something like it before, but he adds a twist, but not as they told you in the lecture halls. So forget everything you think you know about those neat, clean transformations. This is something else entirely. We're talking about a prophet of the depths, not the heavens. And his own change, it's described as, well, subtler, more poisonous, and therefore all the more beautiful. Kind of strange, right? Let's dig into what that actually means.
So, a prophet for the depths. What's that about? Well, this really sets the stage. Jester isn't here to make you feel good. Not at all. He's here to blow up the very idea of comfort. He looks at what we value most, safety, security, that cozy feeling of happiness, and he says, that's not a goal, that's a cage. An elaborate cage for what he calls, and this is a punch to the gut, cowardly living.
Okay, so where does a journey like that even begin? You might think it starts with some grand act of giving, right? Helping people. Nope. It starts with a descent, a downward path, a radical dive into a new, and for him, a much more honest kind of selfishness.
And this transformation happens in basically 4 steps. He starts out as this sun worshiper, just soaking up safe, inherited virtues on his mountain. Think of it like living on borrowed warmth. But then he comes down to town, not to bring salvation, but this terrifying idea. He ends up carrying the corpse of a fallen performer, and instead of being sad, he finds a kind of joyful purpose in it. And that leads to the final step. He's done with the crowd, the herd. He decides to seek out other lonely creators. It's a total flip of the usual hero's journey. He's deliberately choosing dangerous, independent creation over safe, accepted virtue.
So what was that terrifying idea he brought down from the mountain? It's this concept of the overman. And listen, this is not some superhero or a promise of a happy afterlife. Not even close. Jester presents it as a shock to the system, an abyss. He describes it as a tightrope stretched over that abyss with our comfortable animal past on one side and this dangerous, creative future on the other. It's a challenge, right here, right now.
And this really gets to the core of his whole argument. He looks at what the crowd calls happiness, our modern idea of comfort and a quiet life, and he just sees something else. He doesn't see a goal to strive for. He sees a deep, profound weakness. He calls it the exhausted contentment of the last man. Basically, the desire for a small, safe existence is a sign that we've just given up, that we've lost our nerve.
This idea really clicked for him when he saw a tightrope walker fall. The crowd, they just got uncomfortable and shuffled away. But Jester, he saw something noble in the risk itself. So when he carried the man's body, it wasn't some sad, tragic moment for him. He actually called it a joyful burden. It was the moment he knew for sure that his purpose was somewhere far away from the herd that just couldn't get it. And that leads to this, his new mission. He makes a final, clean break. He's done talking to the masses, to the herd. From now on, he's only looking for fellow creators. And there's this weird, malicious joy he finds in being free from pity. His new companions, the eagle for its proud will, and the serpent for its cunning wisdom. He's not trying to save the world anymore. He's trying to build a new one, but only with those strong enough to join him.
So we've seen who this jester guy becomes. Now let's talk about what he does. And, well, it's pretty radical. He basically takes a sledgehammer to the old values, the traditional morality that our whole world is built on.
I mean, just look at this. It's a direct flip of the Sermon on the Mount. Instead of blessed are the poor in spirit or blessed are the meek, Jester's version says, blessed are the despisers, blessed are the shameless and the lonely. He's not celebrating humility. He's celebrating anyone with the guts to break away, to stand alone, and to create their own sense of right and wrong. It's all about dangerous greatness, not comfortable morality.
And he keeps going with this whole reversal thing. Traditional morality might say, woe to the rich, but Jester says, woe to the full and comfortable. He argues that it's struggle, not comfort, that forges a great person, and things like pity and forgiveness, forget about it. He sees pity as a weakness, a poison. And as for forgiveness, he says you need to be merciless with yourself before anything else. Okay, so all of this hammering away at old values, this whole philosophical assault, it's all building to something, a peak. It's his ultimate commandment, a new law meant to replace every single one that came before. And what he tells his companions as he's leaving them is just wow. He says, "Lose me and find yourselves." He's not asking them to be loyal followers. He's demanding they rebel against him. The whole point isn't to become like Jester, it's to find yourself and go beyond him. The greatest gift a teacher can give, he says, is freedom from that teacher. That's a pretty radical idea of education, right?
And this all leads to his ultimate idea, Amor Fati. It literally means love of one's fate. This is his big finale, his great commandment. Forget loving God, forget loving your neighbor. He says you need to love yourself and your own destiny. And not just the good parts. A fierce, terrible love that embraces everything, the suffering, the mistakes, the whole messy package. This, for him, is the ultimate act of self-creation. It's what finally turns you from a follower of rules into the creator of your own.
So where does that leave us? What's the big takeaway when this dangerous, grinning mirror is held up to our modern faces?
At the end of the day, what Jester is offering isn't comfort. It's not salvation. It's something much more stark. He's just laying out a truth that he finds both terrifying and joyful. If there's no God, no grand plan, then the job of creating meaning, of deciding what matters, well, that falls squarely on our shoulders. It's a huge burden for sure, but it's also a pretty glorious opportunity, isn't it?
Which brings us to the final question, really. Jester's message is like this complicated drink. It can be a tonic that makes you stronger, a poison that could destroy you, or a liberation that sets you completely free. And so the real point of all this isn't just to analyze some old ideas. It's to turn that question back on you. So, what will you do with it? What will you become?